Good morning. I'm here at Kihei, Maui, and it's Valentine's Day, and my wife gave me a nice card this morning that said, "Thank you for doing life with me all of these years." I thought that was a neat card that talks about one kind of love that's expressed in marriage and also in God. And it's not there alone, but it's the epitome of true love, is the kind of love that God has for us that's unconditional. In Hebrews 13:4, it says, marriage should be honored by all and the marriage bed kept pure. And God is so concerned about marriage that he'll judge the adulterer and the sexually immoral. I just want to focus on that phrase, marriage should be honored by all. This is not just by married folks. It's just not by single folks. It's just not by Christian folks or worldly folks. It's everybody. God made marriage before he made the church. The church was created by Jesus Christ to be the fulfillment of his mission to save the planet after Jesus came. But thousands of years before Jesus came, when God created the world, he created marriage on the sixth day and blessed it and said, "Be fruitful and multiply." And he intended marriage to be the building block of society. That's why, if you notice, any society that's crumbling, always a big part of that crumbling is that marriage is crumbling in that society. In Western civilization, marriages last only 58 or 40% of marriages last. 58% end in divorce. And in Western society, in many ways, is crumbling. But we're God's people. And on Valentine's Day, we want to talk about how beautiful, wonderful marriage is. We're all the product of a union between a man and a woman. Not all of us are the product of a marriage, but most of us are. And many of us are in marriage or have been in marriage. Marriage does not last into heaven. It's for this earth, and it's a great, great blessing. But it's also a lot of other things, like it's a lot of work, and it's an opportunity to show forgiveness and love because you're married to a sinner. There are 4 kinds of love in the Bible, in the original languages of the New Testament. There's storge, which is family love. Like I love my brother, my mother, my sister, my uncle, my aunt, my cousins. We get that feeling when we're together as family. It fills up our cup. We get that sense of commitment to one another based on blood and kinship. There's phileo. The city of brotherly love is Philadelphia. Phileo means to have a feeling of affection for another person. It's not about sex. It's about friendship. And that's a very real kind of love that God gives us, and we share it and we appreciate it. We even celebrate. Little kids will say, "This is my best friend." And they'll get very hurt if somebody else says their best friend is their best friend. Friendship is something we all cherish and know what it is when we see it. Someone who we can talk to anytime about anything and still retain a relationship, go through even hurt feelings toward one another and still retain the relationship. So that's friendship, love, phileo. Then there's eros, which is erotic love. It means all the deep, romantic, warm fuzzies and feelings and sexual drive all mixed together. It's the thing that Valentine's Day tends to focus on the most, is eros, the erotic love. The feelings of love that lead to sex, the feelings of love that lead to just overwhelming physical effects of emotions toward another person, usually of the opposite sex. And then the final one is agape, which is used in the New Testament Greek for phileo. It's used in place of storge. It's not really used in place of eros, but it's used for its own meaning too, which in John 3:16 says, "God so loved the world that he gave his one and only son." Agape love is the kind of love that holds the world together. It also holds marriages together, because agape love is about commitment to care for a person through thick and thin, whether they've sinned against you or not, whether you like them or you don't. You still love them, and you're committed to being there for them best you can. It's the kind of love that made God send his son to be our Savior. It's the kind of love that Jesus had when he went to get Peter and the boys after his resurrection and they had abandoned him in his darkest hour. It's the kind of love that makes us go do mission work even to people who don't like us. It's the kind of love that makes you forgive your spouse even though they haven't said they're sorry. It's the kind of love that makes you give to your kids and sometimes don't give to them when they're begging you to because you know what's best for them. It's that kind of love at Valentine's that we want to celebrate together because it's a love that's constant. It's that kind of love that makes us honor somebody else's marriage. So even if you're feeling closer to a person that's married than they feel toward their spouse, you back out and you treat that as holy ground and you honor marriage. It's the kind of love we have for God even when things aren't going that great because you know he loves you through his son, Jesus. That's the kind of love Job had in Job 19 when he said, I know that my Redeemer lives and he will stand upon the earth and I will see him. Even though my flesh and my heart may fail and my flesh is destroyed, I will rise again and be with Jesus. So I love God even though he took away my kids and my wealth and my health. I still love God because he's my Redeemer. That's agape love. That's love that makes a marriage happy in the Lord, not just happy in the worldly sense. And that's the kind of love we all have. It's the kind of love that makes us truly happy for other people who are happily married, even if we're single. It's the kind of love we have, even if we got divorced, but we still want to show genuine Christian concern for the person that divorced us. It's amazing. It's agape. It's wonderful, and it's only from God. 1 John 4 says we have this love because he first loved us. So if you're struggling to love like Jesus did, well, just get more of Jesus. Don't struggle on your own strength. Just learn more of him. Draw near to him in prayer. Read about him in scriptures. And think about how much he loves you. And you'll grow it. You'll feel yourself growing in that love. And you'll have a big Jesus and a little life. And that'll make it fun and happy. Make God happy too. Have a great Valentine's Day in the Lord's agape.